So it looks like just about everybody and their mama has seen Joker Folie. But after watching this movie, it was more like, Joker Folie the fuck did I just watch? I mean, honestly, who the fuck was this movie made for? Dean Withers? Actually, come to think of it, it may have been. Because just like Dean Withers and just like the Joker, two people that are conflicted with the society itself on whether their personas were real. Whether Dean Withers, or aka the Joker, the guy who was actually once cool, was this actually the real Dean Withers? Or was this someone else that the society could relate to a little bit? Because think about it, is the Mr. DNC talking points actually really Dean Withers? Or did something happen along the way where he got cucked by society, or more specifically, women? Did somebody cuck him along the way and we lost that cool Dean that once was, just like how we lost the Joker at the ending of Joker 2? Because people around him betrayed him and didn't have his best interests, and society overall betrayed him and made him say that he wasn't the Joker, it was actually Arthur Fleck? Are these two the same? Are Dean Withers and Arthur Fleck one and the same? Mainly because something happened on the receiving end?
Are you gay?
I imagine what it would be like to be at the receiving end.
The
Fucking
receiving
tyranny
end.
of
You
your
empathize
fucking
with the
tyranny.
receiving end, huh?
We cannot possibly know for sure, but what we do know is that this movie was made with hatred and malice based on the people who liked the first Joker movie. But here's the thing, you may be looking at this movie the wrong way. And by the wrong way, I mean a heartbreaking way, because this wasn't a commentary on the people that liked the first movie. This was a commentary about how Dean Withers lost his way. He lost his authenticity, just like the Joker in this movie loses his authenticity towards the ending of the movie because people betrayed him. People didn't have his best interests. That is the whole message of this movie. Nah, I'm just kidding. I can't keep this bit up for too long because it's just too funny. But hey, here's the thing. It's all jokes. It's all jokes. Nothing serious, so please don't dislike the video if you actually happen to like Dean Withers, which I don't know why, because my guy's got cucked. He got cucked. But in all seriousness, and regardless of that bit earlier, this movie, Joker Folie or Joker 2, yeah, it sucks, and I don't want to hear this whole, oh, just because you disagree with the choices that were made in the movie, that doesn't inherently mean it's bad. No, this movie is bad because the plot points just go absolutely nowhere except for Arthur's demise. That's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot of interesting shit that goes on in this movie, other than like maybe some musical bits, but even some of those were kind of just like dragged on way too long, completely unnecessary, just like the sequel. And honestly, this movie just highlights not only just the hatred that this movie entails for the people that really liked the first movie, whether it was for the right or wrong reasons. Either way, this movie completely diminishes what the first one set out to do, and it's just completely unnecessary. And I wish this sequel hadn't been made to begin with. And, you know, part of me was very interested in where they would go with the sequel and that it was going to be a musical. And I was kind of open to, like, you know, something different. But then after watching this movie, damn, what a mess. What a heartbreaking mess. And that's kind of what I want to get into in this video, is that the Joker 2 is a heartbreaking mess of cinema altogether. I was really looking forward to this, and it let me down in all the wrong ways. And on another note, I have noticed that a lot of people, especially normies, have finally recognized that a lot of these studios are just now making movies because they hate you, and more specifically, they hate men, and they hate men and their fantasies, and what, you know, they hate good storytelling. And what better studio other than Warner Brothers to highlight this point? You know, Warner Brothers has made, you know, some classics along the way, you know, within their history, and they've also made a lot of terrible shit because, unfortunately, and I'm gonna have to give this analogy to in the best way I can, Warner Brothers is essentially the Bill Clinton of the filming industry, and by that I mean Warner Brothers cannot control their bitch, or bitches in this case, because of the different IPs they own, and the one major IP that they own, that being DC, is one they cannot control. That's the Hillary Clinton of their IPs. You know, the bitch may have been good before at some point, but now the bitch is out of control. DC is out of control, and it is a completely sauceless entity altogether. There's not a whole lot of good coming out of DC. And ever since, the departure of Zack Snyder, not working with these guys anymore, and a lot of people think that's a good thing, but you can tell just based on the box office numbers alone that that's definitely not the case. And they've been going downhill ever since. Yeah, you have some outliers here and there of like some successful movies, but even then, not great. The first Joker movie being an example of this. The first one made, a little over $1 billion. And this new one, based on some box office records and based on what it's going to be tracking to end off on, it's not even going to be able to break even, guys. That's how bad it's gotten. And Warner Brothers is set to lose, I believe, a little over $150 million on this movie. And, they didn't even really fund that much of the first one. They let outside entities fund that one. But now, since Warner Brothers had, a big hand in the production, or at least the budget within the sequel, yeah, they're getting exactly what they deserve. And they're going to lose a shit ton of money on this movie. And I can't even imagine, how good it's not even, I don't think it's going to get that much better after the release of Joker 2, and especially with the start of James Gunn's DCU. I don't see things get going up from here. They can only fail at this point, or even fail further down the line. And I think what next year is going to prove with the release of Superman Legacy, or just Superman at this point, because James Gunn can't make up his fucking mind on what he's going to call his movies or what he wants for his universe in general. And I think what's going to happen is not only James Gunn, but his fake fans are going to realize that they're not the powerhouse they think they are. They are not the shit. They never have been the shit, and they will never be the shit. Okay? You needed your Snyder bros to come watch your movies, and now they're not. And, even, normies or casuals, I don't really think they're going to be interested in the next Superman movie. And I think that's what's really going to determine that is if they release the trailer, probably next year at the ending of this year. I think that's what's really going to be the breaking point, or the official breaking point, even though they, Warner Brothers and DC have had a lot of breaking points, and just to the point of bankruptcy almost. Because, if you don't know this, Warner Brothers is in a shit ton of debt right now. And I think that debt's just going to keep increasing based on their newer releases, at least within the house of DC. And another thing to note with the budgets, the upcoming budgets for a lot of the movies and TV shows within the DCU, they're not going to be that big. Because I don't even think James Gunn can hire A-list actors for his projects. He's having to hire people off the street, or just from some Lifetime original. That's essentially who he's hiring or who he's casting. And his casting is made by Twitter. It's made for Twitter, especially with the recent casting of Jon Stewart Green Lantern. That was a complete Twitter casting altogether, completely soulless. Just I'm not referring to the actor necessarily, but I'm just talking about the inspiration for the decision, just absolutely soulless. And James Gunn is just, he's let this bitch out of control, and he's allowing his little fake fans to make decisions for him and be a part of the casting. Because there's no way that's not the case, all right? There's just no way. But other than that, you guys, I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, kind of a tangent, even though, Joker is technically a DC property, even though they didn't even show the DC logo at the beginning. At least I don't think they did. But it just kind of goes to show you guys the state of things, and it's a heartbreaking thing to see for sure. Because I remember enjoying so much DC content back in the day, whether it was the live action movies or the animation projects. But right now, it's not there. And I don't know if it'll ever get back there to that point where people are actually excited for this shit. They're willing to go to the cinemas, having some actual enthusiasm for the upcoming projects. And, you have something like, San Diego Comic-Con where they announce all these projects. But I saw earlier this year at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel had a big presence there, but DC, not so much. I don't even think they were at Hall H. They were regulated to some small ass auditorium. That's how far they've fallen. No one is excited for this shit. And just based on their recent projects alone, or even, with or without Warner Brothers' direct involvement on their projects, shit's just out of control. It's soulless. It's heartbreaking to see, and I hate that it's this way. And I really want this to change for sure. I want DC to be great again. I want them to be, competing with Marvel in terms of the quality of their content. But it's just not there, you guys. But I'm going to conclude it on that note. What do you guys think of the state of DC? What did you think of the Joker 2? Are you just like me, where you're just disappointed with how things ended off? Do you think that it was a bad movie? Do you think it was good? What do you guys think? I want to know in the comments below. But other than that, that's going to do it for this video, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.
Yeah.